What separates successful people from the rest of the crowd? Is it luck? Is it talent? Or something more subtle, like the way they think? In today's video, we'll dive deep into the powerful book, How Successful People Think by John C. Maxwell, a compact yet transformative guide that reveals the thinking habits of high achievers. If you want to think better, lead better, and live better, stay with us till the end. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Big Picture Thinking. Let me ask you something. Are you caught up in the chaos of daily life? Always checking your to-do list, running from task to task, but somehow still feeling stuck? If that sounds familiar, then this message is for you. Because in Chapter 1 of How Successful People Think, John C. Maxwell shares a mindset that can revolutionize your life. Big picture thinking. Most people are trapped in the now, the next meeting, the next bill, the next notification. But successful people, they zoom out. They think long-term. They ask themselves bigger, deeper questions like, how does this task fit into my life's mission? Is this decision helping others or just serving my ego? What will this mean 5 years from now? Big picture thinkers don't just react. They respond with purpose. Maxwell says, people who see the big picture expand their world. They think beyond their current emotions, limitations, and even beyond themselves. Why does this matter? Because when you think big, your problems shrink. When you see the whole map, the bumps on the road don't feel like the end of the journey. Let me give you a quick example. Imagine two people building a wall. You ask the first person what they're doing, and they say, I'm laying bricks. You ask the second person, and they smile and say, I'm building a cathedral. Same task, totally different vision. That's the power of big picture thinking. So here's your challenge. Once a week, take 15 minutes to step back. Ask yourself, what am I really working toward? Who am I becoming through this? How is this helping others? Write your answers down. Reflect. Adjust. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters more. Think big. Live bigger. I'll see you in the next video. Chapter 2. Focused Thinking. Ding! Another notification. Another message. Another distraction. Sound familiar? In a world where we're bombarded by noise every minute, there's one mental superpower that sets truly successful people apart. It's not intelligence, not talent, not luck. It's focused thinking. Imagine this. Two people start the same project. One jumps between emails, Instagram, Netflix, and endless tabs. The other? Laser focused on a single task with full intention. Who finishes faster? Who delivers better quality? Who wins? John C. Maxwell calls it focused thinking. And in Chapter 2 of How Successful People Think, he tells us why this one habit can transform your life. Let's break it down. Focused thinking means identifying what truly matters and putting your energy, time, and mind there. Maxwell says, you can't do everything, but you can do the right thing. And that right thing? That's what successful people obsess over. They don't scatter their energy across 10 average ideas. They go all in on one extraordinary one. Let's be honest, our world is addicted to distraction. We wear busy like a badge of honor, but busy doesn't mean productive. Multitasking doesn't mean effective. In fact, Maxwell warns us, mental clutter is the enemy of clarity. And without clarity, we drift. Maxwell gives us the formula. 1. Identify what's important, not what's urgent, what's important. Ask, what's the one thing that moves me closer to my goal? 2. Eliminate distractions. That might mean silencing your phone, closing your browser, or even saying no to things that don't serve your purpose. 3. Protect your time like a treasure. Block time for deep work. No calls, no scrolling, no interruptions. Think about Steve Jobs. He wore the same outfit every day, not because he lacked fashion, but because he didn't want to waste brain power on small decisions. That's focused thinking. Maxwell reminds us, when you know your what, your how becomes easier. Ready for a simple challenge? Each morning, ask yourself, what's the one high-impact task I must accomplish today? Write it down. Then give it your full attention, no matter what. Even just 60 minutes of pure focus each day can change your results dramatically. In the end, it's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. Focused thinking isn't just a mental habit. It's a success strategy. Maxwell says, success is built on clarity and execution. And clarity comes from cutting through the noise and focusing on what really matters. And remember, think better, focus smarter, win bigger. Chapter 3. Creative Thinking. Have you ever had a wild idea? The kind that made your heart race a little, but then you stopped yourself and thought, nah, that's too crazy. That'll never work. What if I told you that exact crazy idea could be your biggest breakthrough? Today, we're diving into Chapter 3, Creative Thinking from John C. Maxwell's life-changing book, How Successful People Think. And trust me, this chapter is an absolute game changer if you've ever felt stuck in routine thinking. Creative thinking isn't just for artists or musicians. It's the kind of thinking that opens new doors, solves tough problems, and leads to innovation. It's how Steve Jobs thought up the iPhone, how Elon Musk reimagined space travel. It's how you can bring bold ideas into your life, career, or business. Maxwell says that creative thinkers challenge the status quo. They're not afraid to look weird. They ask questions others don't dare to ask, like, what if we did it completely differently? Why not try something no one else is doing? What could go right? Here's the truth. The world is changing faster than ever. What worked yesterday won't work tomorrow. And in this fast-moving world, creative thinking is your superpower. Successful people don't just follow paths. They create them. They don't copy trends. They start them. They embrace the unknown, they take risks, and yes, sometimes they fail. But they know failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. John C. Maxwell puts it perfectly. Creative thinkers are not afraid of failure. They see failure as a part of the creative process, not the end of the road. So, how do you become a creative thinker? Here are 3 simple but powerful strategies straight from the book. 1. Give yourself permission to dream. Set aside time where there are no rules, no deadlines, just ideas. This could be journaling, mind mapping, or even taking a walk. Some of the world's best ideas were born in the shower or during a long drive. 2. Surround yourself with open minds. Creative energy is contagious. Talk to people from different fields. Hang out with curious thinkers. Challenge each other's ideas, not to argue, but to grow. 3. Ask what if every day. What if I flip this process? What if I combine 2 things that don't seem to go together? What if I approach this like a child would? This simple question, what if, is like a key. It opens mental doors you didn't even know existed. Here's your creative thinking challenge for today. Block out 30 minutes. Turn off your phone. Grab a notebook. Now, write down 10 what if questions related to your work, your goals, or your passions. Don't judge them. Don't overthink. Just let the ideas flow. You'll be shocked at what your brain can come up with when it's finally free to roam. Creative thinking is not a gift. It's a habit, a muscle. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Chapter 4. Realistic Thinking. Now, let's talk about something that sounds a little less glamorous, but is absolutely essential to success: realistic thinking. You see, there's a dangerous myth out there that positive thinking alone can solve everything, that if you just believe hard enough, success will magically show up at your door. Don't get me wrong, positivity is powerful. But John C. Maxwell reminds us, hope is not a strategy. Wishing is not a plan. And that's where realistic thinking comes in. It doesn't kill dreams. It protects them. Why realistic thinking matters. Realistic thinking is all about facing the facts, the good, the bad, and the uncomfortable truths. It's the ability to say, I love this idea, but can it actually work? What are the risks involved? Do I have the resources, the time, the skills? This kind of thinking helps you prepare wisely instead of failing blindly. Why many avoid it. Now, let's be honest. Most people don't like realistic thinking. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. It makes you confront obstacles. It exposes flaws in your plan. And frankly, it's not as fun as daydreaming about the what-ifs. But here's the thing. Successful people don't run from reality. They embrace it. Maxwell's key insight. John C. Maxwell puts it simply, realistic thinking gives you a foundation to build on. Think about it. Builders don't start with decorations. They start with a foundation. If your foundation isn't solid, your dream is just a house of cards. How to practice realistic thinking. Let's make this practical. Here are 3 steps to become a better realistic thinker starting today. Step 1. Ask the hard questions. Challenge your ideas. What did go wrong? What are the hidden costs? Where might you fail? Step 2. Get advice from realists. Don't just talk to the cheerleaders. Find someone who will say, this part needs work. Step 3. Prepare for obstacles. Create a backup plan. Anticipate delays. Expect resistance. That doesn't mean you're being negative. It means you're being smart. Maxwell says it best. Realistic thinkers understand that the journey to success is rarely a straight line. Now let me ask you this. What's one goal you're working on right now? Have you really broken it down with realistic thinking? Or are you still hoping it'll just work out somehow? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's make this a space where dreamers become doers. Remember, realistic thinking isn't the enemy of your dreams. It's the GPS that helps you navigate them wisely. It doesn't shrink your vision, it sharpens it. So dream big, but plan smart. Hope high, but build deep. That's how successful people think and win. Chapter 5. Strategic Thinking. Are you someone with a vision, but you're stuck not knowing where to start? Do you set goals, only feel overwhelmed halfway through? Then you're about to discover the secret ingredient that turns dreamers into doers. Today, we're diving deep into Chapter 5, Strategic Thinking, straight from the brilliant mind of John C. Maxwell in his book, How Successful People Think. Let's unlock the power of strategic thinking, the thinking style that separates wishful thinkers from real achievers. Strategic thinking is all about the simple truth. Vision without strategy is just a fantasy. John Maxwell says, good thinkers plan their work and work their plan. They set goals and break them into manageable pieces. Let's break that down, backhand index pointing down. Step 1. See the big picture, but think in pieces. Every great achievement, whether it's building a business, writing a book, or transforming your life, starts with a big dream. But the magic happens when you zoom in and start breaking that dream down into small, strategic steps. Imagine this. You want to start a clothing brand. Non-strategic thinking says, I want to sell cool t-shirts and go viral. Strategic thinking says, 1. Research trends. 2. Find suppliers. 3. Build a brand identity. 4. Set a launch timeline. 5. Market smartly. See the difference? Strategy brings structure to your vision. Step 2. Think ahead, not just about today. Most people only focus on the present, but strategic thinkers, they're always asking, what's next? Where will this lead? What obstacles could come up? They anticipate problems before they arise. They prepare. They adapt. John C. Maxwell says, you can't think strategically if you're always reacting. Want to be strategic? Stop reacting. Start anticipating. Step 3. Use resources wisely. Strategic thinkers treat their resources like gold. Time, energy, focus. They invest them, not waste them. They don't chase every shiny object. They ask, does this align with my long-term plan? Is this worth the effort right now? Can this be delegated or eliminated? Example, you have 4 hours on a weekend. You could binge watch Netflix, or use 2 hours to build a portfolio, shoot a reel, or research your industry. One choice feels easy. The other is strategic. Step 4. Think in layers short, mid, and long term. Strategic thinkers don't just think about today's to-do list. They plan for phases. Short term. What do I need to execute this week? Mid-term. Where do I want to be in 6 months? Long term. What legacy am I building? This layered thinking helps you stay grounded in the present without losing sight of the future. Final thought. Strategy is the bridge between a goal and reality. Anyone can dream. Few people build a plan. Even fewer follow through with it daily. Strategic thinking is not just a skill, it's a discipline. It's what turns vague hopes into concrete results. John C. Maxwell puts it perfectly. Strategic thinking reduces the margin of error. It brings confidence, clarity, and effectiveness. Here's your challenge. 1. Write down one big goal. 2. Break it into 3 smaller actionable steps. 3. Schedule time this week to execute the first step. Just like that, you're thinking strategically. If this chapter sparks something in you, if you're ready to stop drifting and start designing your future. Chapter 6. Possibility Thinking. What if the only thing standing between you and your next big breakthrough was the way you think? What if the reason you're not reaching the next level isn't because of your talent, your background, or your resources, but because you're not thinking in terms of possibilities? Today, we're diving into one of the most transformational mindsets from John C. Maxwell's book, Possibility Thinking. Maxwell says it loud and clear. You have to think more to achieve more. Let that sink in. Success doesn't start with action. It starts with belief, with imagination, with possibility. So, what is possibility thinking really? It's the ability to look at something not just for what it is, but for what it could be. It's about asking why not, instead of saying, that'll never work. Think about this. If Edison, Steve Jobs, or Elon Musk had accepted what the world told them was realistic, none of their inventions would exist. They refused to think in limits. They were possibility thinkers. But here's the real question. When was the last time you dared to imagine something big, but then immediately shut it down because you thought, nah, not me. It's impossible. I'm not ready. I don't have the money or the skills. Maxwell would challenge that thinking. And so should you, because possibility thinking is a choice. And every success story begins with someone refusing to believe it's too late or too hard. Here's how you start thinking in possibilities. Step 1. Challenge your inner dialogue. When a dream pops up, don't kill it with fear. Ask instead, what if this actually worked? What's one small step I could take today? Why not me? Step 2. Surround yourself with possibility thinkers. People who lift your ideas, not shoot them down. People who say, let's figure out, not, that's too risky. And step 3. Act boldly, even if it's messy, because taking action on possibility sends a signal to your brain. This dream is real. We're doing this. Let's bring it home. Maxwell says, people who embrace possibility thinking are capable of accomplishing tasks that seem impossible because they believe in solutions. That belief, it becomes a habit. That habit, it becomes your identity. So here's your challenge today. Take one idea you've been brushing off and ask, what if it worked? Then take one small step to move it forward. Just one. Remember, every great achievement started with a single thought. It's possible. Now go out there and think like a successful person. Chapter 7. Reflective Thinking. Learn from the past, grow for the future. Have you ever had a moment where you said, if only I knew then what I know now? We've all been there. This brings us to one of the most powerful yet underrated habits of successful people, reflective thinking. John C. Maxwell, in his book How Successful People Think, tells us, experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is. Let that sink in. Just living through something, whether a win or a failure, isn't what makes you wiser. It's thinking about what you learned from that experience. That's where the real magic happens. Think about it. How many times have we repeated the same mistakes? We go through heartbreaks, missed opportunities, or failed projects. Yet instead of learning, we move on too quickly, pretending it never happened. Successful people don't do that. They pause. They replay the tape. They ask themselves, what went right? What went wrong? What would I do differently next time? And that's what elevates their thinking. Here's an example. Imagine you just finished a big project at work. It didn't go perfectly. Deadlines were missed. Communication broke down. Now, instead of blaming others or rushing into the next project, you take 30 minutes with a cup of coffee and ask, what part of this did I contribute to, both good and bad? What systems failed? What mindset helped me push through? Next time, how can I be 10% better? That's reflective thinking. It's like having a conversation with your past self, so your future self doesn't make the same mistakes. Maxwell doesn't just recommend occasional reflection. He encourages intentional, scheduled reflection. Set aside 30 to 60 minutes every week to think. No phone, no distractions. Just you, a notebook, and your thoughts. Ask yourself, what were my top 3 wins this week? What challenged me, and how did I handle it? Did I grow or just go through the motions? This simple habit can literally reshape your thinking and sharpen your decision-making over time. Soft piano music in the background. Imagine this. You're 80 years old, sitting in your favorite chair, looking back on your life. Will you smile, knowing you live with intention, grew from every season, and never wasted a lesson? Or will you feel regret, knowing the same patterns repeated because you never paused long enough to learn? Reflective thinking is not just for success. It's for peace. It's for wisdom. It's for living a life with fewer what-ifs and more "I'm glad I did." So here's your challenge. Block 30 minutes this weekend. No phone, no noise. Just reflect. Ask, what did life try to teach me this week? What's one lesson life has taught you recently? Because remember, wisdom isn't about age, it's about reflection. Chapter 8. Questioning Popular. Have you ever looked around and wondered, why is everyone doing the same thing? Why are we chasing the same jobs? Posting the same content? Living the same stories? The truth is, popular thinking is comfortable, but it rarely leads to greatness. Think about this for a second. If following the crowd truly worked, wouldn't everyone be successful by now? And yet, they're not, because the road to success often requires us to step away from the crowd. This chapter from John C. Maxwell's How Successful People Think is titled Questioning Popular Thinking, and trust me, it's a game changer. What is popular thinking? Popular thinking is simply going with the flow, doing things because that's what everyone else is doing. It feels safe. It feels familiar, but it's rarely strategic. John Maxwell says, popular thinking brings average results. Successful people don't aim for average. They aim for meaning, purpose, and results. Why following the crowd can be dangerous. Let's be real. Following the crowd might get you likes, but will it get you legacy? Maxwell points out that the crowd often follows emotion, not logic, popularity, not principle. The most innovative thinkers, the rebels, the game changers, they question popular thinking. They ask, does this trend match my purpose? Is this really me or just what the world expects? Think of Steve Jobs. If he followed popular thinking, we'd still be typing on brick phones and clicking green screens. Instead, he challenged the norm, thought differently, and changed the world. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. That's what Jobs said, and Maxwell would agree. Why we follow popular thinking. Let's be honest, most of us follow the crowd because of one thing. Fear. Fear of standing out. Fear of failing. Fear of being judged. But here's the truth. Every successful person you admire once stood alone, doubted, and chose their own path anyway. What successful people do differently? They challenge assumptions. They analyze trends, not just follow them. And most importantly, they ask better questions. Here are some questions Maxwell suggests you ask before jumping on the bandwagon. Does this align with my values? Is this truly the best way, or just the most popular one? What would I do if no one was watching? Quick moment of reflection for you watching this. Are you making your own decisions, or are you letting the crowd think for you? Pause this video. Think about one area in your life where you're just following the trend. Then comment below and say, I choose to think for myself. Let's start a movement right here, right now. Here's your challenge this week. Identify one popular belief, trend, or behavior and question it. Just ask yourself, is this really for me, or am I just afraid to stand alone? Remember, the crowd is comfortable, but success lives just outside that comfort zone. In the words of John C. Maxwell, to think differently, you must question popular thinking. So go ahead, challenge the noise, question the trends, and above all, think for yourself. Part number 9. Shared thinking. Unlock the power of collaboration. What if I told you your next big breakthrough won't come when you're alone with your thoughts, but when you're sitting at a table, brainstorming with others? This is the power of shared thinking, one of the most underrated success habits that John C. Maxwell explores in how successful people think. Think about it. Have you ever been stuck on a problem for hours, only for a friend or a coworker to casually drop a solution in seconds? That's not magic. That's shared thinking. Maxwell says, 2 heads are better than one only if they're headed in the same direction. In other words, collaboration isn't just about working together. It's about thinking together. The why. Why shared thinking matters. Successful people know the secret. Your ideas are limited, but ideas shared are unlimited. When you bring others into your thinking process, mentors, peers, even people from completely different backgrounds, you unlock new perspectives. You challenge your blind spots. You make better decisions. Think of the biggest companies in the world: Apple, Tesla, Google. Their leaders didn't build those empires by thinking alone. They built think tanks, not echo chambers. Maxwell reminds us, shared thinking multiplies wisdom. It multiplies creativity, and it multiplies results. Imagine trying to solve a 1,000-piece puzzle in a dark room, alone. That's solo thinking. Now imagine turning on the lights, inviting a few smart friends, and each of you tackling a section together. That's shared thinking. Same puzzle, completely different experience. You don't just move faster, you move smarter. So, how can you apply shared thinking starting today? Tip 1. Build your circle of thinkers. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, not just agree with you. Find mentors. Collaborate with people who see the world differently. Tip 2. Listen more than you speak. Listening is the gateway to shared ideas. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Absorb, reflect, and grow. Tip 3. Don't compete, collaborate. Too many people see others as rivals. Maxwell says, when you value people, you value their thoughts. Create together, don't compare. So remember, you don't have to think alone to think like a leader. Open your mind, open your circle, and success will open up in ways you never imagined. Chapter 10. Unselfish Thinking. In a world obsessed with me first, true success comes to those who think beyond themselves. Today, we dive into one of the most powerful mindsets in John C. Maxwell's How Successful People Think, Unselfish Thinking. And trust me, this one can change your life, not just your success. Maxwell says, if you help people reach their goals, they will help you reach yours. That's the heart of unselfish thinking. See, many believe success is about stepping ahead of others. But the truth? Real success is built on lifting others as you rise. Successful people know when you serve others without expecting anything in return, opportunities begin to chase you. Think about the world's greatest leaders. They weren't just focused on personal gain. They were obsessed with creating impact. They built teams, inspired others, empowered people. Because unselfish thinking builds trust. And trust builds loyalty. And loyalty? That builds empires. Every small act of selflessness creates a ripple. And sometimes that ripple comes back to you as a wave of unexpected success. When you stop asking, what's in for me? And start asking, how can I add value to others today? You start to attract opportunities that no amount of selfish ambition could ever bring. Here's your challenge. Every morning, ask yourself, who can I help today? Whose burden can I lighten? What gift or knowledge can I share without expecting anything back? It could be as simple as listening to someone who's struggling, or promoting a friend's small business, or mentoring someone who's just starting out. Unselfish thinking is like planting seeds in people's hearts. And one day, those seeds grow into trees that not only give them shade, but shelter you, too. The world doesn't need more takers. It needs givers, creators, people who think beyond themselves. And guess what? Those are the ones who succeed with meaning. So, if you want to think like the most successful people in the world, Start thinking less about I and more about we. Because the moment you shift from selfish to selfless, that's when real success, deep, lasting success, begins. Let us know in the comments. What's one way you can serve someone today? If this inspired you, drop a like, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Chapter 11. Bottom Line Thinking. Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful and sometimes overlooked mindsets of successful people, bottom line thinking. You see, having big dreams and great ideas is important. But if you don't keep your eyes on the real results, those dreams can easily fade away. John C. Maxwell makes it crystal clear. Successful people don't just dream. They measure success by outcomes. They ask themselves, is what I'm doing right now actually moving me closer to my goal? Are my efforts producing the results I want? Pause for effect. Change tone to conversational. Think about it like this. Imagine you're planting a garden. You can dream of a beautiful, blooming yard all you want. But unless you water the plants, pull the weeds, and check on their growth, the dream stays just that, a dream. Bottom line thinking isn't about being cold or ignoring passion or the people around you. It's about making sure your time, energy, and resources are invested wisely so you actually see progress. Many people get stuck working hard but going nowhere because they forget to check their bottom line, the actual impact of their work. Engage audience directly. Here's a quick question for you. How often do you step back and honestly ask yourself, am I really getting closer to my goal? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear. Maxwell gives us a simple but effective action step. Track your progress regularly. Set milestones. Measure your achievements. Celebrate your wins, but also analyze what's not working. Because when you know what success really looks like, it becomes easier to say no to distractions and yes to the tasks that actually matter. Example or story. For example, a friend of mine wanted to get fit. At first, she just exercised sporadically and hoped for results. But when she started tracking her workouts and progress, like how many push-ups she could do or how much weight she lifted, everything changed. She saw her improvements, stayed motivated, and reached her goal faster. So today, I challenge you. Take out a notebook or open your phone's notes app. Write down your biggest goal, and then list how you'll measure your progress each week. Remember, bottom line thinking means turning dreams into measurable realities. Keep your eyes on the prize, track your wins, and never lose sight of what success really means for you. So there you have it. 11 thinking strategies that define successful people. From dreaming big to thinking realistically. From questioning the norm to serving others. These mental habits are what set leaders, entrepreneurs, and achievers apart. Which of these thinking styles resonated with you the most? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss life-changing book summaries like this one. Until next time, keep thinking smart, keep growing, and stay inspired.